Hi, all. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And thanks for joining the session on time. And we will wait for 2 or 3 minutes maximum, and then we will start the session. And it takes a minute for us to connect. So I'll wait for a couple of seconds, and then I'll start talking again. And also, I would like to know whether I'm loud and clear and there are no distractions around. If someone can confirm by dropping a message in the chat. Hi, Lakshmi. Thanks for asking. I'm good. I'm good. Welcome, Meenakshi. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. I can see messages that I'm loud and clear and there are no distractions. Thanks for that. Hey, Jeet. Welcome. I can see you're from Rasika's batch. Good to know that. Thank you, Amitav, Ashish. Thanks for confirming. Good evening. Good evening, all. So let me wait for a couple of more seconds, okay, and then we'll continue. You can see the numbers are increasing. Okay, so let's start. I have good numbers here. Okay, I don't want to waste your time. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I welcome each one of you to the PMP practice question answer sessions conducted by EduHubSpot. And I am Nideesh-Balakrishnan, and I'm the head of PMP courses here at EduHub. So, once again, I thank each one of you for joining the session. Now, the people who have joined for the first time, and so let me explain the agenda of the sessions. So we at EduHubSpot are one of the pioneer ATP partners with PMI, and we do conduct all the PMI courses. So let it be PMP, ACP, PGMP, PFMP. Fine. And these sessions, what I'm conducting is for the PMP aspirants who all are looking, okay, to appear for PMP exams and are looking forward for a very good practice. Fine. So as per me, okay, being into PMP mentorship for quite long time, what I observed here, okay, is to clear the PMP exam, there are two aspects. Okay, one is that you understand the concepts crisp and clear. Fine, that is one thing. Second thing, okay, how to implement these concepts to answer the PMI questions. Fine. So that's the second part of it. So understanding the concepts is one, and applying, implementing those concepts to correctly answer in PMP questions is another one. So we have to understand the PMI's mindset, the PMI's teachings. Fine. So both are separated. So in EduHubSpot, the way we train our students, we make sure the concepts are clear, and also we make sure okay they are practicing 1,200 plus questions, so that they get to know how to use these concepts to answer the questions. And also we give them a proper reasoning behind every question, which is with the correct options. So that's the learning. So definitely there are so many other PMP aspirants okay who are not having this exposures with us. So what we do, okay, we conduct these sessions for free for any PMP aspirants, right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to discuss 5 very important questions for PMP exam. So it will be a very good practice. So understanding the knowledge is not enough for you to ace the exam. Okay, you have to understand how to implement these concepts and then answer the PMI questions, right? So you have to practice. You have to practice a lot. Fine. So these questions we conduct, okay, bi-weekly or once in 2 weeks and all. We try to do that. Now I'm trying to catch up to do it, more frequently. I promise the next session will be done within next 2 weeks for sure. Okay, I'll try my best to do that. So these practices definitely will make you better. And also I will make sure while practicing these 5 questions, I will give some takeaways for you to take home as a new learning today. For sure I'll explain 1 or 2 concepts as well. Fine. But my time is limited. Okay, whatever I'm going to explain will be in a capsule format. Okay, I always tell in these sessions it will be in a capsule format. If in case any sessions what I conduct in my classes, some topics which I cover in 30 minutes, I might be talking about it here in 2 minutes, right? So it will be capsule format, but yes, I'll give you a very good clarity. So today I am with a very important topics from PMP concepts. So let's see what all questions I have. So I'm going to post a question in front of you. Fine. In a minute from now, I won't waste much time. So a question in front of you, you have to read the question and then select the best choice out of it. So you have to send your answers, type in your answers here in the chat, A, B, C, D, whatever is your option, and then I'll give you 1 minute time. So I'll start a timer. So you'll have 1 minute time to read the question and answer it. Let's practice with the timer. Fine, because PMP exam is all about 180 questions to be answered in 230 minutes. So each question, if you do the math, you have 1 minute, some 16 seconds to do. Right? So let's practice it with that time pressure. Else, if you're going to answer it for 2 or 3 minutes after, doesn't make any sense for us, right? So we have to understand how to answer within that time limit as well. So that's the reason we need more practice. So once your concepts are very clear and you know how to implement them in questions, it's a minute factor to answer it. Okay, not wasting more time of yours. Okay, let's start the session right away. So let me share the questions for you. Give me a moment. The first question is very popular topic. Okay, when it comes to PMI exams, very popular topic. So let me share the question with you guys. And as I said, I will give you a minute, okay, and maybe 20 seconds as a buffer to answer it. Fine. So let me share. So here we go. I'm starting the timer. Please read the question carefully, understand it, and then answer it. So exactly 40 seconds are over. You're left with 20 more seconds, and I haven't seen any answers yet. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are done. I'll give you 10 more seconds as buffer. Okay, please start typing your answers. Okay. Dhruvraj, congratulations. You're the first one to type in the answer. Hey Soumya, welcome. Hi Jahangir, thanks for the wishes. Ankit, thanks for your wishes for my new role. Thanks a lot for that. Okay, I can see answers are pouring in. I can see, I don't want to reveal the answers here. Okay, I can see many of you are with A. Hey Zach, thanks for joining in. Okay, and I see one C, and many of you are with A. Mhm. Let me give you a few more seconds. Good. You guys are going with A. I can see maximum of you have gone with A, very few with, C and B, I think. Fine. So let me read out the question for you. Fine. So additional infrastructure project is in month 8 out of 12 timeline. Okay. The PV is 8,000, EV is 750,000, and AC is 700,000. Fine. So if you see these data itself before I proceed, okay. So PV is greater than EV. So the planned value is more than earned value, right? So the what team have achieved is $750,000 worth work, okay, against the planned 800,000. Fine. So in that case, EV is less than PV. It means they are behind schedule. And at the same time, to achieve this EV, they have actually spent $700,000, which is okay under budget. So they are behind schedule and under budget, right? Before even the question says where they stand. And also they are hinting more. The SPI, the schedule performance index, is 0.94. So if it is less than 1, it means it is behind schedule. If it is exactly 1, okay, it means it's on. If it is more than 1, it means they are ahead of schedule, right? So here they are behind schedule. Same way CPI, cost performance index, it is 1.07. So it's more than 1, it means they are under budget. The sponsor has recently raised concerns about the schedule slippage due to weather delays, although cost performance appears healthy. Fine. Based on these EVM indicators, what should the project manager do next? Fine, that's the question. So now let's select the best choice here. A says evaluate, which is the maximum choice from you guys. So A says evaluate the remaining activities on the critical path and consider fast tracking feasible activities to recover schedule while monitoring cost efficiency. Right? It sounds good to me because we are behind schedule. Okay, to address that, definitely fast tracking is one of the ways to do it. Fine. So let's try to see whether we have a better choice than this. B says request a contingency drawdown, okay, to buffer against further weather risk and maintain the positive cost performance. Look, this is about future risk mitigations and all. Right now, we have a situation where your schedule is already behind and your sponsor have raised a concern. So that's what we are trying to address here, right? So A is better choice compared to B. B is talking about the future risk and how to mitigate that. Fine. C, submit a change request to revise the schedule baseline since the delay is due to an external factor. Now, do you think the people who have selected C that the delay due to external factors only go for a change request? No, right? Once your cost, okay, once your scope, schedule and cost, these three are baselined, okay, and while executing, if there is any change to these three baselines, you have to undergo change control system, whether it is internal or external. Fine. So the statement itself, okay, I don't see correct. And also right now it's about the schedule is delayed, now we have to try to bring it back on track. So fast tracking is one of the compression technique which allows you to bring the project back on track, right? So again, A stands the best. Reallocate budget for cost reserve to hire additional labor to accelerate work across all work packages. Look, they're trying to do now. This is something related to crashing, where I'm putting more additional resources to finish things faster. Fine, that also works well. But here, okay, keeping in mind, I want it to be more cost efficient as well. Okay, definitely fast tracking is the better choice compared to D. So I'll go for A. Fine. So A is the correct choice, and you have the same explanation here. Fine. So let's continue. Now I have four more questions. Okay, I have a set of two. Okay, it's similar topics. So next two questions is from a similar two topics, and after the two questions again from a similar two topics. Fine. So what I'm going to do is I will make you answer next two questions, and then I'll explain both of them together. The reason I'm going to do this is, okay, if I explain one, the other one will be very clear to you. So I don't want you to answer with the explanation of the first one. So I will ask you to answer the second question, then the third question. Okay, I'll give you one minute for both, and then I'll explain both of them together. Fine, you guys are with me. So let's continue then. So here is the question number 2, and I'll let me start the timer. So 40 seconds are gone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can I see some answers, guys? Not yet. I'm still waiting. Yes, here comes the first one. Thanks. Now I can see so many answers pouring in. So you guys are going with C, A, B. Okay, I can see all the options now. Okay, only D I cannot see. So you guys are going with C, A, B. Okay, but still I can see more of C's here. Okay, couple of A's and couple of B's. So can I see a little more answers coming up? So I'll give you 10 more seconds to answer this question. Okay. Then we will go to next question. And then I want you to answer that. And then we will discuss both of them. Okay. So A, C, B, right? So C, I can see many of you are with C and a good number is with A as well. Okay. And very, very less with B. Cool. So let's proceed with the next question. Fine. So let me show the next question for you. So I'm just randomly submitting an answer. I don't want you to see the correct answer. So I'm just randomly submitting something. Okay. And I'm proceeding. So what I'm going to submit will be wrong. I know that. Okay. So I'm going to submit something wrong and then we'll go for 3 and then I'll come back and explain which is the correct for 2 and 3. Question number 3. Fine. So let's go to the next one. So here, question number 3. I'll start the timer. Let's start. Can I see some answers? 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I can see some answers now. Let me give you 10 more seconds. And please read carefully and answer. I don't want you to follow the crowd. Okay, don't get influenced. Read and then answer. Okay, I can see A, B, A, B, A, B. Okay, so let me give you 10 more seconds. So you guys are going with A and B, right? Okay, I want, okay, you people, okay, who are want to drop a one liner. Okay, first of all, you let me know what technique, what solution we are talking about here. Okay, which technique of PMI we are talking about. Okay, number one. And second, a one liner about smoothing and leveling, if you want to add. Let's make it more, interactive or two-way communication. Can I see some messages on that? I can see still answers are coming for question number 2 and 3. Okay, so let me take it up from here. Okay, so let me explain the concept behind these two. Okay, for a minute or two, and then I'll reveal the correct answers for both. Fine. So basically, what we are discussing here, right? So it's talking about resource optimization techniques. Okay, so what is resource optimization and when you use that? Okay, one, when you have a demand and supply issue, right? So when you have a demand and supply issue with respect to resource, whether it is human or non-human, fine. So you want to act, start, and when you're planning or during execution, you want to start an activity from, let's say, 25th August, and the resource is not available. The resource whom you are going to allocate, okay, is not available to start the work on that date, or else, okay, you need a material, and vendor says they cannot deliver. Demand supply issue. So when you have a demand supply issue with the resources, you have to do resource optimization. Second, when the resources are overloaded. So when you plan the project, okay, accidentally you have planned the project in a way that resources are allocated with so many tasks and they are overloaded now. Fine. So to again you have to do resource optimization. Fine. So when you have a demand supply issue, when the resources are overloaded, we have to implement resource optimizations. So what are the techniques we have under resource optimization, which is the best practices suggested by PMI, that are, one is leveling, one is smoothing. So let me, again, 1 minute, within a minute, I'll explain. Normally, I explain it for at least 15-20 minutes, but yeah, let me give you a capsule format. So what is smoothing? Okay, smoothing is I'm giving the solution for the resource optimization, okay, by one, using the float in the project. What is float? The buffer, what we have. Again, float I have to explain in detail, so I'm not getting into that. So the buffer, I'm just simplifying that. Okay, so float, the buffer we have in the non-critical paths, okay, and we can use them to solve the resource optimization problem. Then when it is smoothing, we never hinder the critical path. We'll make sure critical path is never hindered. Third thing is, smoothing sometimes might not give you 100% optimization solution. Fine. Leveling is directly you're changing the start and end date. So directly you're changing the dates of the scheduled items, okay, so that you can meet, okay, so that you can give a solution for the problems what we have. So 100% resource optimization is achieved by doing leveling, right? So you're giving a complete resource optimization, complete solution for demand supply or overload issue. That is resource leveling, okay, by changing the dates directly. And when you do that, it might, not necessary, but it might hinder the critical path. Fine. So that's what leveling and smoothing is. Fine. Now let's get back to the questions, okay, and let me explain them. So let me go to first the previous one, which is question number 2. You are managing a multi workstream enterprise software implementation. During resource analysis, you notice that your lead UI UX designer is assigned to several overlapping tasks in the same week across different modules. Fine. So if you see here, the same person have, people are assigned with so many overlapping tasks. Okay, so overload. The team proposes to delay certain lower priority design tasks by shifting them beyond their current scheduled dates. It means you're changing the dates here. So what is there when I directly change the date without using the floats and all? It's indicating leveling right now, right? This adjustment ensures the designer is not overloaded. It means 100% optimization is achieved, okay, but it results in change in the overall project timeline. It means the critical path is disturbed here, right? So it means definitely it is leveling. So this is an example of resource smoothing as tasks were delayed without affecting the critical path. No, it have delayed, right? If in case it has delayed the project, definitely it is impacting the critical path. Fine. This is fast tracking where these are performed in parallel to reduce the schedule. Look, fast tracking is compression technique. Here you have delayed the project. Fine. So it's not at all, it's completely incorrect. See, this is resource leveling since it resolves overall allocation by modifying task schedules, even if the overall project duration is impacted. So purely this is leveling. I'll go with C. Right. And D says this is an example of schedule compression using crashing. No, you're not doing crashing over, right? You're not doing crashing here. Now, fast tracking, crashing, we are going to have, next question. So we'll go for that. Right now, I'm going with C. Fine. So that's good. Now, next one. Your project is in the execution phase and has tight deadlines. All our projects are, right? So anyways, while reviewing the resource utilization report, you observe that several team members are allocated to multiple concurrent activities, leading to potential burnout and quality issues, again overload. Fine. The address to address this, you decide to shift some of their assignments to later dates as the affected tasks have float and project completion date is not impacted. So what is it? You're using the float, the buffers inside, okay, and then you're making sure the deadline is not impacted, the critical path is not impacted. You also document and update allocation and communicate to the stakeholders. Fine. Which statement best describes the technique you are applying? So definitely it is indicating to smoothing, right? Where you have used the float and then you solving the problem, okay, and without hindering the critical path. So you are applying resource smoothing because you adjusted the schedule to optimize resource usage without changing the project overlap timeline. So definitely A looks good to me. Let's see. So B says you are using resource leveling because team members were over allocated and tasks needed to be reassigned, even if that changed the critical path. Look, if you see here, it's saying that you have not impacted the critical path, right? So definitely A is the better choice. Fine. And also it says you have utilized the float here. Fine. C says you are using schedule crashing. No, you're not using schedule crashing. And I'm not going to talk about crashing right now because it might hint the answer for the next question. You're applying a preventive action to reduce the future risk associated with the over utilization of resource by reassigning tasks across the team. No, actually, we have used resource optimization to solve the overload problem. So it is definitely smoothing because we have used float, fine, and not hindering the critical path. Fine. So we are done with question number 3. I hope you guys are with me, okay, and everything is clear. If in case you have any doubts still, you can drop a message. After the session, I might take up your questions. Fine. So let's go for question number. I'm already done with 28 minutes. Okay. But we have two more questions. So definitely we'll continue. Fine. So again, the next two set is again from a common topic. So I will ask you to answer 4 and then 5, and then I will explain the concept and answers. Okay, so we'll go with the same approach. So let me show the question number 4 to you. Now this is a long one. Okay, so let me start the timer as well. I don't think I can show you a timer, but anyways, I'll indicate. Fine, I can. You can see here. So done with 40 seconds. 20 more left. I'll give you 20 seconds extra here. It's a long question. So I'm still waiting for the first answer for this question. Can I see some answers? Time is up, guys. We're done with 1 minute. So here comes the first answer. Again, read the question carefully. I can see the combination of A and B is flying in. A, B, A, B. Okay. Let me see a few more answers here. A, B, A, B. It's continuing. Okay. You guys are equally going with A and B. I can clearly see that. So equal number of A and B's here. I'll wait for 10 more seconds. Okay. Here comes a C. Interesting. So, but most of the fight is between A and B, and one person have opted for C as well. So it was a long question. I'll give you 5 more seconds. I can see so many answers are pouring in. Okay, so I don't want to stop the flow. So let me give you 5 more seconds here. Okay, I can see that the answers are slowing down. So you have equally went with A and B. That's what I observed. Okay, so let me submit this question quickly, and again I'll submit something wrong. Okay, and then I'll carry on. Fine, and then let's answer 5, and then I'll reveal the correct answer for 4 and 5. Fine. So just I'm submitting something which is not going to make any sense. Okay, let's go for it. Now this one is a little longer question for you guys. Okay, sometimes yeah, PMI can bring such long questions, so that's why I thought, okay, I'll make you practice. So let me fit this question in the screen. Sorry for the size. Yeah, I hope now you can read the question. So let me start the timer, and yeah, here we go. So long one. Let me see who is the first one to come here. A special points for that person. Exactly, Zach. Thanks for the comment. Let me show to everyone. Right, spend quality time reading it. It's worth it. Okay, I can see some answers are coming in. Here we go. Again, it's a long question, so I'll give you 10 to 15 more seconds. Okay, can I see more answers? In between, can someone say what technique we are talking about? So definitely you can see fast tracking and crashing. It comes under which topic? If anyone want to reveal that. Okay, I can see AC is pouring in with answers. Okay. So I think after previous question, you got some more clarity, right? But still, I can see that you guys are going with C and A. Okay, few people are going with C, few people are going with A, and few are going with B as well. Okay, interesting. So yeah, basically, yeah, we are talking about schedule compression technique, right? You guys are right, right? So again, we're talking about schedule compression techniques, and under that, you have something called fast tracking and crashing. That's what these two questions are about. So in a minute, I'll start explaining. I want to see more answers here, and then I'll talk about the concept behind it. Fine, I can see the answers are slowed down. I think you guys are done with answering. Okay, so let me take up, and you guys are going with A and C. I can see that, and very few with B. You are gone with. Fine. So let me explain what we are talking about here, right? So it's about schedule compression technique. Fine, for any reason, XYZ reason. Let's say when you tried leveling, okay, when you had overload or demand supply issue with the resource, and you used leveling, and the project went beyond. Okay, the critical path is impacted. So now you have to bring back the project. You have to compress the schedule so that the project will be finished in timeline. Number one. Right. Second, any because of the higher management demand, or because of the stakeholders demand, you have to advance the schedule or delivery. Right. Again, you have to do a schedule compression technique, so that you can deliver things a little faster, right, or bringing back on track. Any reason, right, to compress the project schedule. That's what we are talking about here. Fine. Now, what are the two ways? Again, the best practices suggested by PMI, fine, is there are two ways to do it. One is fast tracking and one is crashing. So again, I'll give you a very capsule format, okay, because of the time limitation. In my class, definitely we go through this for 20 to 30 minutes, right, with practical examples and all. But anyways, okay, here, let me tell you, crashing is you're moving the activities in parallel, okay, so that you can finish the project, okay, sooner, or you can compress the schedule, okay. Now, to implement these items, okay, you have to implement your critical parts. That's when you can actually compress things. But if in case, okay, let's say in between you want to fasten, or you want to move forward with couple of items, then yeah, in non-critical path also you can do the adjustments. Not necessary, but overall project, if you want to compress, then it is critical path. Fine. Else, if you want to do the adjustments so that you can achieve a quicker, let's say next year, you are behind schedule and you want to catch up, then even non-critical path adjustments can help you. Fine. So compressing the whole project schedule, yes, critical path, you have to implement these two techniques. Fine. Now, fast tracking is, let's say you have two activities, 6 days, 6 days, and they are in sequence. When you move things in parallel, okay, let's say you are advanced the second activity 3 days before, so that you are doing things in parallel, then it can become 9 day. So which was supposed to be complete in 12 days, it can become 9 day. So you're compressing it. That is fast tracking. Crashing, you're putting directly more resources. Let's say one activity is planned for 6 days with two resources, you're putting three more resources on top of that, and you're crashing it out within 3 days. Again, it allows you to compress the schedule. And so that is crashing. Fine. Both have its own side effects. I'm not going to talk about that right now. Okay. But let's come back to the questions. Let me explain the question. Fine. So let me go to question number 4 first. So, midway through a critical software integration project, a key stakeholder insists on advancing the delivery of a high priority module by 3 weeks to align with a product launch event. Fine. The project manager assesses the current schedule, and to avoid altering the baseline scope or budget initially, begins by overlapping a group of sequential design, okay, and development activity. He's overlapping it. Fine. This leads to increased coordination, complexity, and communication breakdowns within the team. Now, he tried to overlap, but it have created some problems. Fine. To mitigate the resulting delays and restore schedule alignment, the manager brings in specialized external consultants to expedite the work on the remaining critical path. Now, we have added resource, okay, to solve the delay. Fine. Which of the following best describes the sequence of scheduling management strategies applied by the project manager? Now, if you read the questions carefully, look, the bigger questions, the problem is, okay, by the time you reach the end of the questions, okay, many of my students say, Nidhi, I had a long question. By the time I reached the end, I forgot what was there before. Right. So you end up reading multiple times, and then you end up reading between the lines. You start over analyzing, and then you go wrong. Right. So keep in mind, okay, when you're answering such long questions in PMI, while reading, okay, you have to keep two things in mind. It always have a problem statement or a situation, right? And then at the end, it will have what's next, what is expected of you, out of you, right? So one small tip: first you read the last line. Okay, if you first you read the last line, okay, then you start reading the whole question, then you can actually know what you're looking for. Okay, then your brain picks up exactly what you need to understand. So when I read, okay, which of the following best describe the sequence of scheduling management strategy? So it's saying sequence of scheduling management strategy, okay, applied by the project manager. Now I know what to look at in the question. So sometimes, again, it's just a tip. Many people said, yeah, Nidesh is working well with me. Okay, so when you have two long questions, read the last one, what is expected, and then read the question. It will ease your journey while reading the question. Fine. So now let's pick up the answer here. So just a tip of the day. So yeah, A says the project manager initiated a crashing strategy by onboarding additional skilled resource, followed by the fast tracking to recover the loss. Look, actually, project manager have used fast tracking and crashing. But if you read the sequence, first he implemented fast tracking, then he did crashing, right? First he tried to move things in sequential. While doing that, there were some problems, and then at the end, because things were getting delayed, he added more resource, more cost, right? So crashing is done later. So first fast tracking while overlapping, then adding resource was crashing. Fine. So A is not the correct choice here. Fine. B, the project manager first implemented fast tracking, which is correct, to shorten the schedule by overlapping activities. Perfect. And later applied crashing by adding costly external. Perfect. B is the perfect choice here. Fine. C says the project manager performed progressive elaboration through rolling wave planning to adopt no pause. I don't want to read further. Right. So progressive elaboration and rolling wave planning is completely different. So not this is not correct here. And use crashing to adjust staffing leveling levels in response to the discovered delays. Leave it that. Now, D, the project manager first leveled resource to avoid conflicts and later applied resource smoothing to compress non critical path. Completely incorrect, right? So, smoothing is not to compress the non critical path activities and all. Okay, so leave that part. Fine. Basically, smoothing is you're using the float, okay, around, and then you're doing the adjustments to resolve the resource optimization problem. Fine. Actually, it's not to compress the project or achieve things faster. So B is the best choice here. Fine. And these are the reasons behind it. Now, let's go to the last question explanation. As the project manager of a high visibility digital transformation initiatives, you are informed during an executive review that the project is tracking behind schedule while scope, quality, budget constraints must be preserved. Okay, you conducted a detailed schedule analysis and discovered two key findings. One says two UX design activities currently planned in sequence, which is planned in sequence, right? One finishes and then the other one starts. That is an in sequence, okay? Have minimal dependency. They are not dependent, okay? And could feasibly be executed in parallel. So I can actually make it execute parallel. That is one of the observations we have. Fine. With tight coordination, definitely. Second one, system integration testing scheduled near the end of the project could be accelerated if more qualified testers are assigned without compromising on quality. So by assigning more resources, I can complete the last activities quicker and also without affecting the quality. These are two observations, right? Given that maintaining delivery timeline is now critical and without modifying the project scope or reducing the quality standards, which approach would be most effective? Fine. Now let's try to read the options. A is user resource smoothing for both activities by adjusting their start and finish dates, okay, with float, ensuring delivery without increasing risk or affecting critical path. I didn't find this actually very good. Okay, so they are talking about resource smoothing for both activities. Okay, by adjusting their start and finish date. Look, smoothing is normally okay, and within the float. Okay, that is good. Then ensuring delivery without increasing risk or affecting the critical path. Look, let's read B as well. Apply resource leveling to adjust task schedule based on the availability, even if that results in minor delays to avoid over allocation. And look here, there's no problem with over allocation and all, right? So it's completely against. Now whenever you read the question, first you have to understand the problem statement. Fine. When you're selecting the options, right, when you're reading the options, you have to make sure it is following the PMI mindset, it is following the PMI teaching, it is following the PMI processes what is defined. Number one. Second, you have to see whether it is a practical solution for the question or not. Fine. So if you see, okay, 1 and 2 is talking about smoothing and leveling. The question is not talking about any resource optimization problem. It is not talking about demand supply issue. It's not talking about overload issue, right? So definitely I don't need to do smoothing and leveling here. Number one, fine. So I will strike it out. I'll strike out A and B. Now let's go to C. Apply fast tracking to the design task by overlapping execution and implement crashing during the testing phase by assigning additional skill resource to compress the task duration. It sounds good. It's as per PMI teaching. It's also giving a solution for the problem, practical solution, right? D says recommend a formal change request to reduce the lower priority features from scope and move them to the post release. No, I cannot do that, right? It's completely incorrect. Fine. So as I said, when you're reading the options, number one, look whether the option is actually PMI teaching, PMI process, what they explain, or PMI mindset, right? First, you have to look at that. Then you see whether it is a practical solution for the problem statement. So that is the best choice for you. Sometimes when you read the statement, right, it looks good, fine, but it might not be a PMI teaching, or else it might not be giving a practical solution. Fine. So that is where you get tricked with PMI questions. Okay. And second tip of the day, when you get so long questions with you, okay, in PMI, look, PMI is not only your knowledge testing. Okay, it's your knowledge testing with time management, right? So if in case you have very good knowledge, I have so many students who have very good knowledge when it comes to PMI teachings, but they're struggling with time management when it comes to answering the question. So definitely, okay, you need one, you need clarity in concepts. Okay, so when you have very good clarity in concepts, definitely you can answer the questions with lesser time. So that's the reason, okay, we also take very practical classes in EduHubSpot. It's not about reading through the slides. We take the classes very practically, okay, so that the concepts are very clear in their head. And then when the concepts are very clear in your head, okay, to answer the questions, you can be very fast on that. But you have to understand how to answer the question in PMI, how to select the best choices, right? So they are not testing your industry expertise, they are not testing your past experiences and all. They are testing, okay, they have come up with a common framework for project management, irrespective of any industry you're from, right? So they are going to test your skills, conceptual understandings on project management, which they are teaching from PMI, the best practices around the globe, right? And PMI is definitely accepted globally, okay, again, irrespective of the industries, any industries. Now if I see in my classes, I have people from all the industries, let it be banking, finance, pharma, okay, oil and gas, construction, IT, any industry you name, insurance, people are coming and doing PMP. Why? Because it is globally accepted. Okay, the PMP certified people are able to manage, okay, the project much better, right? So that's the reason, okay, these things are created. So yes, to answer the questions, okay, when it comes to long questions, don't spend more than 2 minutes, okay, while answering it. So you have to practice in a way that easy questions less than a minute, very tough questions, okay, maybe in out of 1 or 2 there might be a couple of them. So don't overspend time there. If you spend 2 minutes extra, let's say you take 4 minutes, like you're killing your time for the other questions, right? So time management is very important in PMP exams. So please practice more and more and more questions. Fine. So if you go to EduHubSpot YouTube channel, go to EduHubSpot YouTube channel. You can click on live tab there. You can see all these question answer sessions are conducted. So what all live question answer sessions we are conducting, we have kept there as a recorded, sessions. So you can watch it anytime. The people who have attended today or the people who have missed out, okay, they can watch this anytime. It's always there available in YouTube. Fine, and definitely it's for free. Fine, so please visit these. Okay, let me submit C. Okay, so definitely C is the correct choice here. Fine. So I hope I was, okay, able to provide some insights, okay, and I was able to give you some new takeaways to home, okay, where you got some extra understandings or something, better. So I can see many of you have scored, okay, nicely, and definitely I believe you got some learnings out of that's the main purpose of these sessions. Okay, thanks a lot again. Make your concepts clear, okay, practice more questions, okay, with time management. That is the best way to crack PMP. Fine. So Thanks a lot. Once again, thanks a lot for joining the sessions. And as I promised before, definitely I'll conduct the next one within 2 weeks. So next to next Friday, same time, I'll conduct one session for sure, and I'll make sure I'll bring more interesting, okay, and more tougher questions to break. Today, I brought in a little simpler one, but I wanted to give you a taste of long questions, okay, and also I wanted to discuss about these two concepts. Fine. I hope it was useful, and I want to see some messages if in case you like the sessions which we are conducting, so that we can continue with that motivation. So if I can see some messages that it was actually useful or not, and any suggestions you have, or else any doubts you have, okay, before I leave, if in case I can clarify them. And after the sessions are done, okay, in the YouTube, please go and like and definitely subscribe our channel. So thank you. I can see so many messages that you really like the sessions, and definitely you feel it was useful. Thanks a lot for the comments. Okay, and I think we're good to close. Okay, see you in next 2 weeks. Okay, so next to next Friday, definitely I'm coming and presenting this. Thanks a lot joining in. See you guys. Thank you, Christina. I can see so many again people are sending messages. So I'll wait for a couple of seconds and then I'll close it. Thank you. Thank you, Vijendra. Thank you, Cynthia. Thanks a lot. Hey, Mohammed. Thanks for joining. I see you do wait for my online versions. Thanks for that. I will change the topic, Mohammed. I'll bring a new topic for sure. But I wanted to, give a taste of longer questions and all. So yeah, I stick to the same topic. Thank you. So let's meet soon. And definitely next time I'll bring some new and interesting topics and interesting questions as well. Thanks a lot.